After selling her soul to pay his $1 million mortgage, she discovered an unexpected life-changing alliance. The doorbell jingled as Sara stepped into her little bakery, a sanctuary of flour-dusted countertops and the warm, inviting scent of cinnamon wafting through the air. But today, the walls felt closer, the air thick with the weight of a tragedy she couldn't shake. For the past year, she had lived in the shadow of grief, raising her 2 young children alone after the sudden loss of her husband. A single mother in her late 30s, Sara had transformed their dream of a family bakery into a reality, yet the $1 million mortgage tethered to their home loomed over her like a dark, ominous cloud. Every month, the payment slipped through her fingers like grains of sugar, and with each passing day, the thought of giving up her husband's dream gnawed at her soul. "Mommy!" Her daughter, Annie, tugged at her skirt, eyes wide with hope. "Can we have cupcakes today?" The simple request struck a chord, igniting a fire of determination within Sara. She smiled, but deep inside, doubt churned out as the oven hummed. Sara stared out the window, contemplating the desperate offer from Vincent, the local real estate tycoon. His charm dripped like honey, promising relief from her financial nightmares, but at what cost? She could sell out her bakery's soul, the heart of her ingredients, her community, her integrity. Would that price be worth it? Tears pricked her eyes. Then, a knock interrupted her spiraling thoughts, and in walked a group of local bakers. They were vibrant, full of life, and shared stories of their struggles, overdue bills, health issues, and the illusion of success. Together, one man said, "We can lift each other up." Hope sparked within Sara. Their camaraderie reminded her of a forgotten promise to her husband, to build a legacy, not just a business. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The laughter echoed in her bakery, warm and comforting, but her heart was still heavy with the decision looming over her. The idea of entering the National Baking Contest was a flicker of light in the darkness, a ticket to prosperity. She could visualize the trophy gleaming on her counter, a sign that she had overcome, a promise to her children. But how could she trample on her new friend's dream? The budding community initiative was fragile, and even with the contest as her lifeline, Vincent's offer still loomed, a reminder of the ease that came with sacrifice. As she prepared her signature dessert, her heart raced. Would it symbolize her escape, or would it lead her down a path of regret? In that decisive moment, surrounded by the sweet aroma of vanilla and the laughter of her newfound allies, Sara faced her moral quandary. Closing her eyes, she breathed deeply, longing for clarity. The stakes had never felt higher. Would she grasp the easy route to success or fight for integrity and community? Sara stood at the crossroads of her life, poised to discover how far she would go for her dreams, her children, and the friendships she had come to treasure. Would she choose the path of ambition, or honor the ties that now bound them all together? A fragile hope flickered within, a hope that maybe, just maybe, the right choice wouldn't mean sacrificing everything. As the last of the flour settled and the scent of vanilla enveloped her senses, Sara's hands moved with a fluid grace over her workbench. She mixed the batter with a fervor born not just from passion, but from desperation. Each stir of the spoon was infused with her resolve. She imagined her children's faces lighting up, the proud smile on her late husband's face if he could see her now. But doubt clawed at her heart, a relentless whisper that only grew louder as the hours passed. The baking contest was just days away, and yet the chill of Vincent's offer clung to her like a shadow, refusing to dissipate. She glanced at Annie and her son, Max, who were giggling as they colored in the corner of the bakery. They were her everything, the flickering flame that kept her fighting. But could she keep that flame alive while also standing firm against the looming pressure of the mortgage? "Mommy, how many cupcakes do we get to decorate?" Annie's voice tugged at her steely resolve, pulling her back to the present. "Just wait a little longer, sweetheart. I'm almost done. Sarah's voice rang with a forced cheerfulness. As the timer beeped and her creation emerged from the oven, the golden tops shimmering, Sara felt a momentary surge of pride. But as she scooped them out and set them to cool, her thoughts drifted back to the contest. I'll do it, but how? The idea of entering the contest and potentially winning felt like a lifeline, a chance to breathe, but the pressure to maintain her principles fought back. Suddenly there was another knock. She opened the door to find Anna and James, fellow bakers who had found an unlikely friendship over dough and frosting. Sara. They chimed together, exuding energy. We're here to help. Grateful yet overwhelmed, Sara welcomed them inside. They poured in like sunlight, bringing laughter and camaraderie that filled the space with an energy she hadn't realized she was missing. How's the contest prep going? Anna asked, peeking at the cupcakes. With a sigh, Sara shared her conflicting emotions. I want to win. I really do, but I also want to keep this place alive for you all. As she spoke, she could see empathy reflected in their eyes. James stepped forward, his voice steady and convincing. We're all in this together, Sara. Let us be a team. We can create something unique for both the contest and our community. Sara felt a knot in her stomach slowly unravel. She might not have to choose one over the other. Maybe together they could elevate each other's work. Her heart swelled with the beauty of this unexpected alliance. What if we combined our strengths? Imagine a bakery here that showcases each of our specialties. Sara's voice trembled with excitement and hope. Exactly! Anna exclaimed. Their enthusiasm was contagious, and for a moment, the specter of Vincent's offer felt further away. As they brainstormed flavors and designs, the bakery burst with creativity. Laughter echoed, and despair ebbed away under the warmth of this collaboration. Yet, the clock ticked on, and the deadline for both the contest and her mortgage loomed like thunderclouds in the distance. Tonight, Sara said, suddenly resolute, we'll host a community tasting event. Let everyone try our creations and share their favorites. It could bring us all closer together. Let us do it. Anna and James cheered, but as her friends buzzed with plans, a flicker of anxiety crept back into Sara's mind. What if they didn't show? What if this effort failed? The tension twisted in her stomach again. Could this really be the turning point she needed, or just another charade? As the day grew darker, the reality of their venture weighed heavily. Could she trust her community to rally behind her? Would they come together, or would it all fall apart, taking her dreams with it? Deep down, she felt a question burning brighter than any fear. What was she truly willing to risk for the chance to save everything she loved? The glimmering outline of ambition and fear blurred in front of her. Whatever happened next would define not just her bakery, but the legacy she fought to create in a world too quick to dim the light of hope. The aroma of baked goods infused the bakery as Sara and her friends prepared for the community tasting event that evening. The bright hues of frosting, the shimmery dusting of glittering sprinkles, and the warm golden colors of freshly baked treats filled every corner. Annie and Max helped assemble the last touches on the cupcakes, their laughter a sweet melody in the background. Yet beneath the buzz of activity, Sara felt her heart race. Time was slipping through her fingers like sand. Okay, we need to be ready before the sun sets, she called out, her voice slightly shaky. Her gaze darted to the clock repeatedly. Relax, Sara. We've got this. You're amazing, Anna chimed in, her eyes twinkling with optimism as she whisked another bowl of frosting. But did they really? The questions still swirled in Sara's mind like scattered leaves in the wind. Just hours ago, she had almost convinced herself that they could turn this into a celebration of community spirit. But as the minutes ticked away, resentment about her mortgage reared its ugly head. What if people didn't come? What if it was all for nothing? James approached her, sensing the weight on her shoulders. You know, it's normal to be scared. But look around. This is what it's all about, people coming together. Sara nodded, appreciating his support. As he turned back to arrange the display of cakes and cookies, her chest tightened with an unfamiliar urge. Could she trust this belief? Wasn't that the very essence of risk? Everything they'd created today was powerful. Each cupcake held a story, a flavor, a piece of their hearts. This wasn't just about winning a contest, it was about connection. As she breathed deeply, Sara felt the warmth of that realization enfold her. "All right, let us do this," she exclaimed, unleashing a burst of energy. The confident flicker ignited in her chest. They set the last serving platters on the tables, freshly pressed tablecloths crisp and inviting, the warm glow from the overhead lights reflecting off the vibrant colors of their creations. The first guests arrived, and as they stepped inside, their smiles brightened the room. They took in the scene, a fusion of passion and creativity. The hopeful chatter grew, and Sara's heart fluttered at the sight her community gathering, warm and eager. As the tasting began, the initial uncertainty of her heart began to fall away, replaced by laughter and gratitude. She mingled, chatting with her neighbors, their praises flooding her with newfound strength. "Can you believe what they've done?" one woman exclaimed to another, as they sampled strawberries dipped in chocolate cream. But while others rejoiced, Sara swept another tray from the back and peeked out the window. As night cloaked the town in a soft hush, Sara felt a pang of hope mixed with nagging apprehension. She glanced to her friends, and they seemed to be glowing under the pressure they'd fought together. "Everyone loves the cupcakes." Annie's excitement drew her attention. "Can we make more?" "Of course," James replied, and the three of them hurried back to the kitchen, laughter bubbling between them. The sound of clinking plates, the clamor from spirited conversations, filled the bakery like music. People gathered around the desserts, sharing favorites, and darting glances at the creations with wonder. But just when Sara felt a sense of ease wash over her, she caught sight of Vincent standing at the back, arms crossed with a familiar smirk on his face. His presence sent a shiver down her spine, mixing tension back into the celebratory atmosphere. He was a reminder of the struggle that loomed over her, a specter of everything she was trying to fight. "Remember, you're overextending yourself," he whispered as he approached her, the shadow of doubt touching her heart once more. His cold voice broke through the chatter like ice-shattering glass. What was she letting go of by dismissing him? What would it cost her if she failed? As the night spun on, Sara faced a critical moment. Could she find the courage to withstand not just Vincent's taunts but also the turmoil of her own uncertainty? Would the community's essence be enough to carry her through? The bakery, filled with sweetness and laughter, flickered with the promise of hope. But the thought of Vincent's hit cut through the atmosphere like dry air before a storm. Would she let his presence douse her flame, or rise above the darkness he represented? The answer felt inexplicably close yet just out of reach. The essence of her fight hung there, tempting and exhilarating, waiting for her to seize it. As she took a deep breath and faced her fears, the sound of applause erupted. Was this just the beginning of her breakthrough, or a test of her resolve? The crowd cheered, lifting her spirits, but Vincent's shadow loomed large. With the night full of promise and uncertainty, it was time to confront what truly lay ahead. The applause filled the air, wrapping around Sara like a warm embrace, but she couldn't shake the chill that Vincent's words had ignited. His smirk echoed in her mind, a persistent reminder of her fears. Would her moment of triumph be followed by a deeper defeat? "Let us keep the momentum going." Annie's cheerful voice broke through the fog of worry that had settled over Sara. Annie was a beacon of positivity, yet Sara struggled to match her enthusiasm. She flashed a quick smile, but inside, doubts swirled like a whirlpool. "Yeah, let us serve up more cupcakes," James chimed in, already reaching for the trays piled high with their creations. Sara could see their excitement, but one look at Vincent reminded her of the real stakes at play. Could we take a moment?" Sara asked, her voice wavering. She needed a breather, a chance to clear her head and reassess everything. "Sure. We'll keep things moving out here," Max said, sensing the change in her energy. Stepping away from the vibrant chaos, Sara found solace behind the counter where the warm oven still hummed gently, a reminder of the love and labor that surrounded her. The scent of vanilla and chocolate mixed with her anxiety in intoxicating waves. She closed her eyes, willing the tension to dissipate. What was it all for, in the end? A moment of glory? A community momentarily distracted from their own troubles? Something deeper churned inside her. Was she truly pouring her heart into this, or simply running from her responsibilities? A true celebration shouldn't feel like a mask for her insecurities. As if summoned by her thoughts, Vincent stepped forward, breaking into her quiet moment. You know, as much as I enjoy your little show, eventually the truth will catch up to you, he said with a casual air that set her on edge. The tension in the air thickened, gnawing at the edges of her confidence. She opened her eyes and faced him. The truth is, I've built this, she gestured to the bakery brimming with people, out of love for my community, not out of despair. I won't let you undermine it. Vincent's brow raised, intrigued. Love? You think a little love can save you from a crushing debt? It's a nice fairy tale, but reality is unforgiving. Maybe, she replied, surprising herself with her fierceness. But what if love is exactly what this community needs right now? What if it's enough? For a moment, there was silence. The noise from the tasting faded, leaving just the two of them standing there. She could see a flicker of something in Vincent's eyes, a hint of disbelief mingled with curiosity. Maybe love changes things, he said finally, his tone wavering slightly. But can it really change your circumstances? She hesitated, weighing his words carefully. Perhaps it was time to confront her own reality without fear. I believe it can, she said, her voice growing stronger. I've seen it here tonight. Connections are what matter. They outweigh any dollar amount on a mortgage. Vincent scoffed, but she could see the chink in his armor. Maybe you'll find it hard to believe, she continued, her heart pounding with determination. But love has brought us all here together. And together, we can face anything, even your doubts. With a final piercing look, she stepped back into the bustling bakery, her spirit buoyed by her own words. The energy surged as she regained her confidence. People continued to mingle and laugh, a chorus of life filling the air. In that moment, Sara saw victory not just in her baked goods, but in the very essence of community, of standing up against doubt and fear. But one question lingered in her mind. The tension between her love for this place and the burden of her mortgage remained. What if Vincent was right about the reality of her situation? Could she bridge the gap between her passion and the looming debt? As she leaned over the counter, ready to serve, she felt a shift within herself. This was just the beginning, wasn't it? Would she be able to forge ahead and turn her vision into a lasting legacy? Or would Vincent's truth ultimately overpower her dreams? With renewed determination, she took a deep breath, ready to embrace the challenges ahead. The night was alive with possibility, and with every moment, she edged closer to uncovering what that reality would truly mean for her future. The bakery buzzed with laughter and chatter, but beneath the surface, Sara felt a tension that refused to let go. Confronting Vincent had ignited not just her fire, but also a flicker of uncertainty. She moved through the crowd, welcoming customers with a smile, but each interaction felt slightly superficial, as if a layer of plastic wrap now covered her soul. Annie swooped in, her apron dusted with flour and icing. You were incredible out there. Seriously, you handled Vincent like a pro. There was admiration in her eyes, and Sara cherished it. But would admiration be enough? Thanks, Annie. She sighed, glancing toward Vincent, who stood with his arms crossed, surveying the room. In his presence, the warmth of the bakery felt cold and sharp. It's not over yet, you know? What do you mean? Annie's brow furrowed slightly. Sara hesitated, unsure if she should voice her concerns. He has a point. I have this amazing bakery, but it's not all sunshine and cupcakes. I have a mortgage to cover. It feels like I'm just nibbling at the edges of a bigger problem. Annie's face fell for a moment, then transformed with determination. You know what? You're not doing this alone. That's just it, Sara murmured. What if this community doesn't have enough to give back? What if tonight was just a fleeting moment? Before Annie could respond, a soft voice chimed in from behind them. Hey, what's going on? It was Max, always tuned into the mood. His kind eyes pierced through Sara's fortress of worries. Just a little post-party talk, she replied, trying to sound light-hearted. Post-party talk can be good or bad. I'm sensing the bad vibe, he said, leaning against the counter. Sara took a deep breath, her heart racing. I don't want to ruin the magic of tonight, but I need to face the reality of, well, everything. I can't keep pretending everything's wonderful when I've got bills piling up like this. She waved a hand toward the stack of papers hiding beneath the register. Max nodded, his expression serious. We'll figure it out. Maybe it's time we all chip in to help. Help? With what? She asked, incredulity rising. You all have your lives' jobs. I can't burden you with my problems. You aren't a burden, Sara. Max shot back, his voice steady. This whole thing is a team effort. You've poured your heart into this place, and it's more than just you. We all care. We've all tasted what you've created together. The warmth in his words gave Sara a glimmer of hope. Could community really stand as a foundation strong enough to hold her dreams aloft? I just don't want to end up dragging everyone down with me, she whispered, fearing the weight of burden she had never wanted to share. Then let us consider options together, Annie suggested. What if we host events? Fundraisers, bake sales to not just celebrate, but to help you survive? Sara looked at both of them, her heart swelling. You all would really do that? With your time? Absolutely. Max grinned. You don't have to fight this battle alone. The resolve in both their eyes sparked something inside Sara. Could they really rally the community behind her? It felt like the air thickened with promise. As they continued to brainstorm, Sara felt a flicker of something she hadn't expected: faith. Faith that love, connection, and community could be more than just words. They could be tools to reshape her reality, a way to battle the specter of failure. But in the back of her mind, doubt still lingered. Would everyone rally as she hoped? Would Vincent's influence loom too large to overcome? The evening wound down, the last cupcakes were savored, and people filed out, some lingering to say their goodbyes. Sara watched them leave, a mix of gratitude and anxiety swirling inside her. Tomorrow would come with challenges, and Vincent's words would still echo in her ears. Could she truly take bold steps into the future without the burden of doubt weighing her down? Sara locked the door behind the last patron, stealing a moment to breathe in the stillness. It was time to forge ahead, and deep inside she knew the answer lurked just beyond her reach. What if, despite her fears, this path was indeed the beginning of something life-changing? The morning sun filtered through the bakery windows, catching motes of flour and a golden glow. Sara stood at the counter, staring at the mixer that seemed to mock her with its stillness. It was hard to concentrate. Her thoughts raced faster than she ever expected, spiraling from one worry to another. She grabbed a coffee, hoping that caffeine would stifle the weight in her chest. Annie appeared, her hair pulled back in a messy bun, an apron tied around her waist like armor. Ready to bake? She asked, her usual brightness undeterred by the uncertainty that hung in the air. Yeah, sure, Sara replied, forcing a smile. Let us make some magic happen. They moved through the familiar motions of baking, pouring flour, kneading dough, and mixing batters, but the joy of creation felt muted. As the sweet scents began to fill the air, it reminded Sara of what was at stake. She fought the mounting anxiety. What if the community didn't back her the way she hoped? It pulsated in her chest, matching the steady rhythm of her mixer. Max popped in, a sparkling energy that brightened the dim corners of her thoughts. Sara. Annie. What can I do to help? His eagerness was infectious, and it brought a small flicker of hope. Just the usual, Max, Annie said, handing him a bag of sugar. We're prepping for a big day ahead. Right. Is today when we start planning those fundraising events? He asked, a grin stretching across his face. For a moment, Sara hesitated. What if it all fell apart? We're thinking of a bake sale next week, she admitted, but I'm not sure if people will come. I mean, what if it doesn't work? Max's excitement deflated for just a second, but he quickly recovered. You've got this. You bring people together, Sara. You make them feel comfortable. That's more than just baking, it's a chance to show what this community is about. She appreciated his confidence. Thanks, Max. I just don't want to let anyone down. I worry that if these events don't succeed, it'll be my fault. Hey, he said, stepping closer. You're not alone in this. We do this together. We all love this place, and we want to see it thrive. Sara felt her heart swell momentarily, but doubt crept in again, a shadow in the back of her mind. Envisioning a fundraiser is one thing, but pulling it off, that's a whole other story. The door swung open, and the first few early morning customers strolled in, their chatter filling the space with warmth. As Sara greeted them, she noticed their smiles, the twinkle of recognition in their eyes. It struck her then a spark of what her bakery meant to them. Suddenly, she could see the faces lining up, not just for pastries, but for the feeling of connection her treats provided. If she could harness that, maybe they could band together after all. Let's start with a small event, she announced. A community gathering. Just cupcakes and coffee to kick things off. Test the waters, and if it goes well, we can expand from there. Now that's the spirit. Annie cheered. As they continued to prepare, laughter bubbled up, and the bakery slowly turned alive with purpose. It was a single step, but in her heart, Sara felt something shift. What if they really could build this together? Later that night, after closing up shop, Sara surveyed her space. The warmth of the bakery lingered in the air, a melting pot of hope and uncertainty. With the advent of tomorrow, potential hung in the air like freshly baked bread, but a lingering shadow loomed in her thoughts. What would Vincent think? How would he react if the plan actually worked? And with his undercurrent of competition, could he pull the community from her grasp? Lost in her thoughts, Sara stilled, her heartbeat echoing the quiet of the bakery. As her dreams began to expand, she faced the unknown with both a thrill and dread. Could she truly embrace this challenge, facing it all head-on? A door creaked somewhere in the back of her mind, a reminder of the possible storms ahead. Would tomorrow's light shine on her or cast her into the shadows? Sara dragged her fingers through the flour-dusted countertop as the following morning dawned bright and crisp. Today marked a new beginning. A community gathering was on the calendar, a chance to bring everyone together in her bakery. As she poured the last bits of cupcake batter into the tins, the excitement was a flickering flame in her belly, threatening to extinguish under layers of anxiety. Annie hummed an upbeat tune as she organized sprinkles and frosting, the colors bursting vibrantly against the white canvas of their workspace. Just imagine all the smiling faces, she chirped, looking at Sara with hopeful eyes. Yeah, if they come, Sara muttered softly, her mind still haunted by uncertainty. What if her vision of a thriving bakery only existed in her imagination? Hey, it's gonna be great, Max chimed, entering with a box of coffee cups. His infectious smile lit up the room, and for a moment, it pulled her from her spiraling thoughts. I ran into Mrs. Henderson at the grocery store, and she is so excited. Just wait until you see how many people will show up. Sara's heart skipped. Really? He nodded enthusiastically. She even said she's bringing some of her famous chili. You know how everyone loves that. The warmth radiating from those words wrapped around Sara like a cozy blanket. Maybe this time, she could lean into it, the sense of community, the connections forged over flour and sugar. As the day wore on, the smell of vanilla and chocolate wafted through the bakery, mingling with laughter and light conversation. The tables filled with cupcakes showcased her hard work and her heart. And as people began to arrive, Sara felt electricity in the air. Her neighbors drifted in, arms filled with treats, curious glances nudging her forward. She jumped into conversations, starting to recognize familiar faces. Each smile and word chipped away at her fear, allowing flashes of excitement to seep into her weary spirit. But as the gathering flourished, a familiar figure appeared by the door. Vincent stood there, impeccably dressed, with the air of someone both entitled and confident. His eyes scanned the room, pausing on her as if evaluating a delicate pastry. Nice little gathering you have here, he remarked, smiling in a way that didn't quite reach his eyes. Sara's heartbeat quickened. Thanks. Just something to boost community spirit, she replied, forcing a calm that trembled on the edges. Hope you're ready for some real competition, Vincent said, casually glancing around the room. I have an event planned next month that might steal your thunder. The words felt like ice in her veins. Panic threatened to rise, but she battled it down. We'll see about that, she answered, unwavering. There was a fire igniting within her, the kind that only came with standing firm in her dream. As the event continued and laughter echoed, Sara heard a few neighbors discussing their fond memories of the bakery. Each word was a thread, weaving together the fabric of community she hoped to strengthen. She caught Max's eye, the brightness in his expression mirroring her own growing confidence. It dawned on her that this wasn't just about her. This was about everyone who had walked through those doors. Each cupcake became a symbol of shared hopes, fears, and dreams. As the last cupcakes were served and chatter filled the air, Sara stood back for a moment, taking in the scene. She felt light, as if a weight had been lifted. But a question clawed at the edges of her mind. What exactly would she do to guard what she had built? Could she keep Vincent at bay while nurturing her challenge at the same time? The day was beautiful, yet the presence of Vincent lingered like a dark storm cloud on the horizon. Just as she was about to exhale, an unexpected voice rang out behind her. You baked all these? How about a taste test challenge? Sara turned, her heart ready to race again. A challenge? Here it was, knocking on her door. But what did it mean for her dream? As she looked into the eager faces around her friends, neighbors, and even a few competitors, she realized the moment of truth was forming. Would she rise to heighten her bakery's reputation, or would her fears dim the sparks she had ignited? The uncertain path ahead shimmered, full of potential, yet shadowed by looming competition. What choices would she have to make, and could she really carve out her place against the odds? Sara's heart raced as she faced the crowd, the challenge hanging in the air like the sweet aroma of freshly baked cupcakes. A taste test challenge? She echoed, her voice wavering slightly. The notion ignited a rush of adrenaline, yet fear knotted in her stomach. What if she failed to impress? What if Vincent's impending competition loomed larger now? The voice belonged to Tyler, a new neighbor with an infectious enthusiasm that instantly drew her in. His curly hair bounced as he smiled, clearly pumped about the idea. Yeah. I say we pit the best of your cupcakes against whatever Vincent dreams up. The crowd murmured in agreement, eyes sparkling with mischief and excitement. The room buzzed with energy as more voices chimed in, encouraging and urging her to accept the challenge. Sara felt a flicker of hope. This could be a defining moment. But doubts whirled in her mind. Could one challenge be enough to shield her from the storm Vincent promised? Okay, I'll do it, she declared, surprising even herself with the fervor in her tone. A cheer erupted from her neighbors, their supportive banter filling the bakery with laughter and encouragement. But let's do this right, she continued, raising her hands to capture their attention. We'll set up a community challenge. Bring your friends, your families, and let us make it a celebration of local flavors. The excitement in the room surged. I can help organize, Annie chimed in, her eyes bright. Max nodded with enthusiasm, already plotting the logistics. Let us chalk up a date, give everyone time to prepare, he suggested. As the chatter resumed, Sara felt a warmth wash over her. This was what she had hoped for, a community united by food, laughter, and above all, love. But as she glanced toward the door, the shadow of Vincent lingered, a silent reminder of the pressure she faced. Just remember, I don't play nice, his voice drifted back to her, cool and almost teasing. With a final glance, he turned and left, leaving behind a chill that seemed to wrap itself around her. Forget him, Max said, sensing the shift in her mood. You've got this, Sara. You have a whole town behind you. He was right. Her bakery wasn't just a building filled with ovens and mixers. It was a place of laughter, stories, and relentless hope. Spirit filled her as she thought of the people who had shown up today. A taste test would not just be about cupcakes. It would weave together community stories, triumphs, and shared journeys. As she began to divvy up tasks, a realization hit her. This could be her chance to showcase her creativity, her strength, and her voice. There was a thrill in accepting the challenge, an opportunity to let the world see what her bakery truly represented. But behind that excitement lingered another question. nagging and relentless. What if this endeavor pushed Vincent to engage in tactics that went beyond friendly competition? What if the pressure to succeed turned her dream into something she could no longer control? Okay, everyone. Go ahead and grab some cupcakes. She gestured toward the tables, letting the festive atmosphere envelop her. As her friends and neighbors dug in, she couldn't shake the feeling that the real battle was just beginning. As the day began to wind down, Sara stood back and watched. Laughter rang out, fingers smeared with frosting, and hearts began to mend. But a pit formed in her stomach when she heard someone whisper, "Have you heard about the new rumor? Vincent's up to something." Those words hung in the air like smoke, curling and twisting into her thoughts. Was Vincent really a threat, or was it simply her own fear manifesting? She gripped the edge of the counter, teetering on the edge of doubt. Whatever happened next, she had to prepare. There would be no running away. This would be her stand, her moment of truth. As the final glimmer of sunlight faded outside, Sara's resolve solidified. What would be her next move in this looming contest? And what lengths would she go to ensure her dream didn't slip through her fingers? Sara woke up the next morning with a heaviness in her chest. The sun poured through her window, illuminating her kitchen filled with the remnants of last night's festivities. Cupcake wrappers lay strewn about like confetti, a bittersweet reminder of her decision to confront Vincent. Her heart thumped loudly as she realized this challenge had morphed from a simple taste test into something much bigger. She poured herself a cup of coffee, willing the rich aroma to lift her spirits. As she took that first sip, the warmth wrapped around her, igniting a spark of determination. She couldn't let fear dictate her next steps, she needed a plan. After finishing her coffee, Sara grabbed a notebook, the well-worn pages echoing with dreams, recipes, and sketched ideas. She flipped through it, searching for inspiration. The familiar swirl of flour and sugar danced in her mind. What if she incorporated community flavors? Everyone had unique preferences and stories. This could be her moment to showcase them all. She pencil-drew diagrams, jotting down notes as excitement flourished. Just then, her phone buzzed, breaking her concentration. A text from Annie. "Let's meet up. We need to brainstorm ideas for the challenge." The invitation lit up her heart. Not only did she need help, but collaborating with her friends felt like an anchor amidst the brewing storm. They met in the same bakery where the challenge was first proposed, a comforting place filled with the scent of rising dough and the warmth of camaraderie. Annie and Max were already seated at a table when Sara arrived, excitement radiating from them. "Okay, what's the game plan?" Max asked, eyes gleaming. Sara couldn't help but smile at their enthusiasm. "I was thinking we should focus on local flavors. Everyone can bring a favorite recipe, and we turn it into a cupcake. It builds on our community, our stories," she explained, her voice gaining strength. Annie's face lit up. "Yes. I love that idea. We can even make it a contest for the best filling or frosting. It'll be like a family reunion with cupcakes." Together, they brainstormed ideas, laughter mingling with icing-scented air. Each suggestion inspired another, from lavender-infused treats to spicy jalapeno cupcakes, as ideas flowed freely. Sara felt lighter. She was finally not alone in this fight. But then, as if on cue, Vincent's shadow crept into her thoughts. What would he think of her plan? Would he undermine her community-centered approach? A chill crawled up her spine as she voiced her concerns. What if Vincent tries to sabotage our event? This is our celebration, and I can't let him twist it. Max, a grounding presence, placed a hand over hers. "We won't let that happen. Let us keep it fun, let everyone get involved, and celebrate each other. That's hard to sabotage." As the day wore on, they continued to plot and prepare, murmuring secrets over flour-dusted tables, illuminating one another's dreams. But in the back of her mind, the words she had overheard about Vincent lingered. He's up to something. After hours of lively conversation, they wrapped up around dusk. Sara felt a pulse of excitement in her veins. The challenge was set. It would be both a fight for her bakery and a festival for her community. She stepped outside, breathing in the crisp evening air, but soon, darkness loomed above. A figure standing at the edge of her path caused her heart to race. It was Vincent. "What do you want?" Sara asked, keeping her voice steady. Vincent smirked, hands tucked in his pockets. "Just came by to see what you're cooking up. I have a feeling this competition will get interesting." Sara's pulse quickened. What did he have planned? With the weight of his gaze on her, she felt a chill run down her spine. She squared her shoulders and shot back, "Bring it on. The community is with me. You don't stand a chance." As she walked away, the doubt pressed again on her mind. How far would Vincent go? And how could she protect her dream in the face of his threats? With questions swirling around her, Sara knew one thing for sure: this fight had just begun. The sun broke through the clouds on the day of the big taste test challenge, illuminating the bakery like a beacon of hope. Sara stood in front of her decorated counters, a whirlwind of emotions battling within her. Excitement and anxiety twisted around her heart like frosting on a cupcake. Today was the day she'd put her dreams to the ultimate test. Annie buzzed around, chatting animatedly with guests as they lined up outside, their anticipation palpable. Max was busy setting up the display table, coordinating special menu boards that showcased the new community-inspired flavors they had crafted together. For a moment, Sara took it all in: the laughter, the cheerful greetings, the fragrant aroma of baked goods filling the air. This was her sanctuary, and today could define everything she had fought for. As the clock ticked towards the start of the event, Sara felt a familiar tickle of doubt creep in. She caught sight of Vincent leaning against his sleek, black car parked nearby, his confident smirk sending a shiver down her spine. He had pulled together a crew, and whispers of his extravagant plan had made their way to her. What would he do to derail this? She thought, worry coating her voice. But today was not just about the competition. Today was about the community, the love and shared experiences that brought them all together. Reminders of that because of the encouraging smiles around her, Sara steadied herself. "Let us do this," she said, clapping her hands and rallying the team. The energy shifted, anticipation flowing like warm batter through the crowd. Together, they pulled back the doors, and the aroma of sweet treats wafted outward, enveloping onlookers like hugs dressed in icing. As guests streamed inside, laughter filled the bakery, and the festive atmosphere blossomed. With each cupcake sampled, stories were exchanged. Local favorites blended with new creations: rosemary honey, spicy chocolate, and blueberry lemon burst from their little creations like fireworks. The challenge was real. Vincent's team was impressive, their lavish decorations contrasting sharply with the warmth of Sara's homemade charm. But what they lacked was her community's spirit that infused everything she touched. The energy pulsated with friendship and belonging, fueling Sara's resolve. She weaved through clusters of people, feeling that familiar rhythm of belonging wrap around her like a cozy shawl. When she joined a group of excited tasters, she overheard their praises. Glee washed over her. Could she dare to hope? "Your chai cupcake is a winner!" one customer exclaimed, and laughter erupted. Another chimed in, "But the jalapeno chocolate is revolutionary." Sara's heart swelled. This was not just about winning, it was about love, the love stitched into each cupcake, the friendships rekindled in the kitchen, and the relationships blossoming in every corner of the bakery. But just as she began to slide into a blissful high, Vincent stepped forward, a calculated arrogance in his tone. "Impressive turnout, Sara. But remember, a flash in the pan doesn't equal sustainability. Just look at those cupcakes." He waved dismissively. It took everything in her to maintain her cool as fire ignited in her chest. "You underestimate the power of community." Her voice, strong and unwavering, cut through the noise. An unexpected cheer echoed behind her, and she turned to see her neighbors stepping forward, voicing their agreement. "We're with you, Sara. We believe in this place." A wave of warmth washed over her, the crowd echoed encouragement. Their presence solidified her connection to this moment and the dreams she fought for. The challenges ahead would undoubtedly be tough. Vincent's tactics would continue, and the whispers of doubt would rise again. But today, in this very bakery, the heart of the community thudded fiercely in a united rhythm. As the judging began, with both teams casting their hopes onto the table, Sara held her breath. She could see her flavors, her friends' creations all coexisting in a spectacular tapestry of what they had achieved together. The moment the judges tasted their cupcakes, she locked eyes with Annie and Max, sharing a silent exchange of hope. They had made this work together, had built something bigger than any rivalry. When the judges deliberated, the silent tension was almost tangible, but in that heartbeat before the verdict, Sara realized something profound. No matter the outcome, she was enriched by the support surrounding her and the love that infused each sweet creation. Today had already been a victory. When they announced the winner, a wave of exhilaration swept through the bakery like a breath of fresh air. It was Sara's family-inspired cupcake that won the crowd, but the true victory lay in the connections they had woven together through trial and tasting, fear and laughter. As the crowd erupted in applause, peace broke through the whirlwind of uncertainty inside her. Shoulder to shoulder with her friends, they celebrated not just a contest won, but a community that had united to support one another. Sara knew then her journey was just beginning, but every step forward would now be backed by love, resilience, and unbreakable bonds. The bakery would thrive, she would make sure of it. So, don't wait any longer. You need to subscribe now to the channel for more inspiring stories just like this one. Leave a like right now to help the algorithm spread the joy of transformation and resilience. This is your chance to comment below and share your feelings and reactions to this amazing ending. And don't you dare leave without sharing this video with at least 5 friends who are craving inspiration. Make sure you show your support, don't wait not even one more second.